Hindustan Zinc is the world's second largest integrated zinc producer and the third largest silver producer. The unit of Vedanta Group reported 21% drop in net income for the fourth quarter, with revenue falling 12% on year. Let's discuss this and more with CEO Arun Misra. Arun, good to have you with us. 20% drop, and that's due to zinc prices. What assumptions are you making about zinc prices in the coming quarters?
Thank you for joining. And zinc prices going up. I think we have already moved up from $2,400 to about $2,850 a ton. My guess earlier was that we would be touching $3,000 a ton by the end of December, but looks like by August, September, we should be breaching the mark of 3,000.
So in terms of demand for zinc that would drive prices, what may some of those reasons be?
So one of them, of course, being LME sanction of Russia. On the other hand, also we see a lot of positivity in the economy, especially in US, partly in Europe, and of course India and Southeast Asia. India leading the pack with the highest ever growth rate of more than 8.4%. And we see that a lot of infrastructure spend in India, which would have a lot of consumption of zinc. You would appreciate that Hindustan Zinc sells most of its product, more than 60 to 70%, in India itself. So we are highly upbeat about the Indian market. At the same time, our export bases in Middle East, Southeast Asia are also going strong.
Arun, there are lots of challenges, including geopolitics, tensions, for instance, in the Middle East and the Red Sea. Might that impact your business? Might that impact, your exports?
So right now, our exports are not so much impacted because largely our export, about 80% is in Southeast Asia. Very small percentage is in the Middle East. Nevertheless, looking at the geopolitical situation of last 2.5 years, they are not going to affect as much as they used to do earlier. Perhaps the world was fragmented much before these geopolitical tensions came in. So people have learned to have their own market bases nearby their own country. And that's how the whole world is surviving for last about 4 to 5 years. I'm sure that will be the way to go in the coming future as well.
Arun, it's not just about zinc, it's also about coal. What are you seeing in terms of supplies this year and perhaps in the summer?
So coal in general, of course, supply will be affected, and of course many coal producing companies may go out of coal production because of the pressure on ESG. But we at Hindustan Zinc already we have resolved that we will buy 90% of our power from renewable power source. We already have the power purchase agreement in place. From this month onwards, the renewable power is landing at our doorstep. And in another couple of years' time, 90% of our thermal power plants will be closed, and we will be dependent only on renewable power, where the power purchasing rate is fixed for next 20 years. So we'll be out of this, apprehension crisis.
And what assumptions are you making about coal prices in the coming quarters?
Coal prices are going to move up, but not as much. I guess, because I don't see any dysfunction in the supply chain on the coal side.
Arun, we know that your board has perhaps driven a strategic restructuring of the company. How is that coming along?
So our strategic restructuring, the idea is in place, but of course all stakeholders have to be aligned first, and there are issues around the government's offer for sale for the stakes that they have. Both the things have to happen, so we are working out how both the things play out together.
So talk to us about where talks are right now about that divestment plan and when exactly that may happen.
So I personally went with government officers in the roadshows in Mumbai. There are a lot of intention on the part of government to get it done as quickly as possible. Perhaps they were waiting for the right situation in the market. Currently, Indian stock exchange markets are heating up. The price of Hindustan Zinc shares have moved up by about more than 60%. In last 1 month, it has moved from 300 rupees a share to maybe 400 rupees a share. So this is the right time for government to disinvest, and I am sure and extremely hopeful that government will take note of the current situation and make the best use of it and get the divestment done in a matter of 3 to 4 months' time.
Arun, there are some reports suggesting that perhaps the government is against the split. Can you provide some confirmation whether that's true or not?
It's not for or against an idea. The government has certain reservations or questions around the idea. Principal reservation being that the whole idea that post-reservation, post-splitting of the company, the overall market cap will go up. We are businessmen. We understand business, and we know how to take risks in the business. We also know how the market operates. We believe that if we split the company into silver and lead zinc company, the silver company will have their own investors, which will pay the right price for the shares that they hold, while the lead zinc company will have their own set of investors who would pay the right price for the shares that they hold, and that would push up the market cap. Currently, we are sitting at about 20 billion, and we would cross anywhere 24, 25 billion if we split the company. That's our belief, and we are private businessmen. We know how to have an idea and execute it.
Arun, speaking of silver, we've seen a run-up in silver prices recently. What assumptions are you making about prices going forward?
Prices are currently around $29 a troy ounce. I think it will go up to 31, 32. Primarily being the world over, the silver productions are down, whereas the demand is up, primarily in the industrial sector, and propelled by huge focus on ESG, which is pushing up more and more solar panels being manufactured. Of course, the huge global communication industry, be it cell phones, be it other forms of communication, that is also pushing up a lot of silver consumption on the industry sector. We believe that this situation is going to continue, and silver prices will be northwards even now for at least next 2 to 3 years.
Right. So in terms of shortages for silver, do you see that persisting beyond 2024? Perhaps we'll see the same story in 25 and even longer?
Even longer, because new mines to come up and operate, it will take anywhere between 18 to 24 months. So in my calculation, even if the current silver producing mines have to expand beyond their lease boundaries, it will take another 18 to 20 months. So maybe another 2 years or so, we should see the silver prices becoming strong.
Arun, talk to us about your investment plan for the year, where you'll be putting your money, which sectors in particular. Are you looking for new mines, for instance?
So as far as our current investments are concerned, we are investing to increase our roasting capacity by investing in a roaster so that we can produce about 1.25 million tons of metal. At the same time, we are on the drawing board for doubling our production in India from 1 million ton to 2 million ton. Maybe another 3 months down the line, we will be able to make a public announcement on the project and the outlay, capex outlay, and the timeline and all that. At the same time, we have listed and not listed. We have already incorporated a subsidiary company, in metal exploration company, which is dedicated to exploration, and it will bid for exploration blocks put up by government. Government of India has put up few tranches of critical mineral blocks where through Vedanta we have participated. We are, as Hindustan Zinc has participated in a gold mine that has been put into auction. So I see another 18 to 20 months, Hindustan Zinc will go beyond lead, zinc, silver, may foray into gold, may foray into platinum, molybdenum, lithium, and materials like that.
Arun, final question. We know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to win the elections for a third term. What policies would you like to see from his government that would benefit companies like Hindustan Zinc?
So Mr. Modi's policy has always been that government has no business of being in business, and he has always encouraged private participation in business. That's how we have seen Air India is in the private hands. Airports, ports are all operated by efficient private players, and that's the right way to go. And in that count, I believe that Hindustan Zinc divestment will also happen soon, so that government also comes out of Hindustan Zinc and Hindustan Zinc shareholders get to control the company fully.